a little bit of good with a little bit of good luck. So the recording has just started, so I'll just give my introduction once more. My name is Abhijeet Ray, and I have managed to secure a rank of All India rank 50 in this civil service exam this time. This was my fourth attempt. Anthropology is my optional. And just a little basic about me, I am an electrical engineer by profession. I passed out from Delhi College of Engineering. Then I did job as a firmware engineer in Texas Instruments in Bangalore for some years. After that, I left that and did a full-time civil service preparation. My first two attempts I gave while doing a job, and when I had just started preparation, I gave the attempt. And normally, what happens is you take 1.5 years of preparation and then you give your first attempt. But in my case, I started my prep and I gave the attempts. Maybe that was one of the reasons why I could not clear the first two attempts, even prelims. But again, that would be a little bit of an excuse because I made a lot of mistakes as well that I'll touch upon in this discussion also a little bit. And third attempt, I could not clear mains, primarily because I had just chosen anthropology as my optional, and the mistakes that I made in trying to write optional answers that was not desirable in my preparation. And fourth attempt, I tried to do everything right. Obviously, mistakes were also made there, but by and large, it was good enough. My GS3 marks were very less this time, only 77, but I got very good marks in some papers and good marks in some other papers, which overall, and interview was very, very good. So overall, with a lot of luck and God's grace, I have got this rank. So yeah, welcome everyone. Today we are going to discuss a little like a sort of general sort of a discussion about first thing that I would have to talk about is how to prepare for UPSC and other competitive exams. And this is probably the most general question that one can ask someone who has cleared this exam. Uh, well, if I think if I have to share my thoughts on this, the first thought that comes to my mind is how is this exam different from the other exams? I mean, a lot of people will say a lot of things, and all of them are right, because of course this exam is a very long process. You have three stages, all of which require different styles of preparation, and if you make a mistake in one step, then again you're back to square one. That's always there. But I think there are other some few interesting points as well. For example, in this exam, the most difficult stage that we like to call the prelims, right? Although I personally would not agree that that is the most difficult stage, but let's say generally speaking, prelims is the most difficult stage. But again, the most difficult stage is also the most irrelevant and unimportant stage, because you see, once you clear prelims, these prelims marks doesn't make any difference. So you have to have that mindset of not getting sentimental to any aspect of this exam. Matlab, your attitude should be, I need to do all and only that much that is necessary to clear this exam. I am not here to gain or do a PhD on any topic. I'm here to clear the exam. I need to see what are the skills that are required for me to ace this exam and hone those skills. So that is one approach that I sort of made a mistake on in the early attempts, and dhire, I realized it and I made improvements. Um, but again, to keep it very broad, like how should you prepare generally speaking for competitive exams? Well, uh, I mean, I can give you the value-based answer that there are certain values or certain qualities that you will find in any person who has been successful in any competitive exam. And these are again things that are said by everyone. These seem very cliched, but these are very important. And you might think that again I'm repeating the same thing like a chatterbox, but actually it's very true that dedication is needed. It is needed. It's one of the most uh, talked about, the most cliched, but it is needed. I mean, if I have to see what are the three previous attempts versus the fourth attempt, what difference did I do? Obviously there are many small things, but a lot more dedication is what I, I put into my effort. I think someone's mic is on, so I request everyone else mic to be off, please. Right, fine, thank you. So yeah, dedication. I used to waste a lot of time on YouTube and other social media in my first two attempts and also in my third attempt. In my fourth attempt, I switched to a phone that hardly had any social media. I mean, it was just a very basic smartphone. So and YouTube, I severely cut down on. So dedication towards whatever you're doing whatever it takes. Then discipline, because you have to be in that boring exam preparation cycle for a long time, and no matter what anyone says, it is boring, it is monotonous. So you have to have discipline and inner drive for you to sustain yourself. I think one, and again coming back to civil services, I think one very interesting, or I would say very effective tool that I've heard even other people speak about, is that when you start this preparation, you should be very, very crystal clear in your mind why you want to get into this journey. Because the the external factors, the attractive factors of this job, obviously it's there, the glamour is there, the respect that people get, but these things are temporary. You have to understand this. The glamour lasts for some time, the respect will always be there, but that cannot be a driving factor. It won't be a driving factor for you for a long time. What really will make a difference for you in sustaining your motivation is the inner desire to do some change, some positive meaningful change in this country. And I think that is the sole reason why you should get into this job, and not for any other reason. I have heard this being said by many people who have cleared this exam, that the reason for you to get into civil services should be crystal clear in your mind. Otherwise it's very hard to sustain this long process. Another thing that is unique about this exam is that obviously it's a long process. It's a marathon rather than a sprint. So a friend of mine told something very beautiful, that this is such a long and I would say long process, and many stages are there, that every person, like we all have strengths and weaknesses, right? So every person gets an opportunity to utilize their strengths in this exam, and every person gets an opportunity to tackle their weaknesses in this exam. This exam is like that. It's such a long process that everyone gets an opportunity to show their strengths, and you have to be wise enough. You have to be wise enough to catch that opportunity as and when it comes. First of all, you need to be aware of your strengths, and this is again discussing the how we should approach a competitive exam in general. That what is needed for the exam, and what are your strengths and weaknesses, and where in the exam process will you be able to capitalize on your strengths, and where in the exam process will you be able to, let's say get caught in your weaknesses, and capitalizing on that and managing your weaknesses is very, very important. I think that is one thing that sets people who are successful in this exam apart from the people who unfortunately are not able to clear this exam the way they wanted. Because you have to always be attentive and capture wherever you're lacking and wherever you're strong, and capitalize on it. So that is one thing that I would say. I think then we can move on to the next thing that I wanted to talk about. Is I mean, again, this is specific to the civil service exam, that GS and SA, um, we talk about, right? This entire huge thing called general studies, of which even prelims is also a little common, and of course the essay paper. Uh, I like to talk about the essay paper first, because that was my strength, and I got very good marks this time in essay as well, even in the last time as well. The thing is, the mistake that people do is that they sort of tend to take the essay paper lightly, assuming that they have studied general studies, and the points that they, or the material that they'll be writing the essay on, that they can source anyways from their GS preparation. So why take this paper seriously? Now, the thing is, we know that this happens. The bad thing is UPSC also knows that students take the essay paper lightly. So UPSC has its own way of extracting the people, or selecting the people who have not taken the essay paper lightly. And we saw a very good example of this time in 2021 essay paper, where sort of all the 8 topics were philosophical, and the basic skill that came handy was the ability to express yourself in simple words. And that is not something that is developed just by reading lots and lots of GS, or by not practicing much. It's something that is developed over. Okay, yes, if someone has the knack of creative writing like I had from my childhood, from my college days, school days, then that's a different thing. But for the majority of the people, it is the practice that you do while you are preparing. I mean, one essay a week is fine enough. Or when you are in a lot of stress for GS, for prelims, and for the prelims part, then forget one essay. At least one or two essays a month. That can be a good thing. But the idea is not to lose touch with practice for essay paper, because and this is true for even other subjects as well in civil service preparation. Again, I read this somewhere that civil service preparation is like rowing a boat upstream. If you don't keep rowing, that is, if you don't keep giving your inputs every day, then the current will push you back. So the next day you start preparing, next day you get back to studies, you will have to start from a previous position that you started a week back. So and you definitely would affect it, right? If you take a week's break, then when you come back, you have forgotten many things. So staying in the loop, staying in the zone, keeping practice on, not only in essay paper, in GS also, is very important. And there comes the point of answer writing practice. uh, People ask that when is the right time to start answer writing practice. Well, for some people it can be later on, but I have seen, generally speaking, and I've talked to many of my batchmates also, that about because this is a question that I was also very curious about, because I started right from the start. I mean, when I started GS preparation, I started answer writing in my own way. Obviously, you can't be that good in answer writing early on, but I started writing answers, trying to figure out how I approach and answer, what is the structure and everything. So most of the people told me that it is because we are doing an integrated preparation of prelims and mains, right? So you can start your answer writing practice right from the start. uh, but the point here is, be very sure that you will not be able to write good answers at the start. The first answer that you write will obviously be the worst answer that you write. But I can guarantee you that if you keep on this process without giving up, then definitely, even by the end of a week or 2 weeks, you'll see a little difference. A month, a lot more difference. A year of answer writing practice, you'll see hell and heaven difference between where you started and where you are. So the point here I'm trying to make is, for every aspect of preparation in this exam, keeping yourself motivated and keeping yourself in the zone of practice is very important. The same goes for general studies. How should we approach general studies? Again, general studies is a very broad thing. It includes a lot of subjects. uh, but I mean, there is this tendency, even I had it, that while studying we have this knack or desire to study a little more because it seems interesting. That is the mind game that you should come out of. You study only that much that is needed for you, let's say from a mains perspective, that is needed for you to write uh, maximum how much, 3 pages answer will be there, 15 markers. You study only that much of a topic that will help you write a balanced, holistic 3 page answer on that topic. And what I mean by balanced, holistic? By holistic, I mean positives, negatives, way forward, the introduction, conclusion. You should know what are the strengths, weaknesses, how you should approach the weaknesses of that topic, and what should be the way forward, or the introduction and the conclusion. That's it. There is no expectation of you to write like an expert here. Now that's about that. And also, like I was saying, we should move away from the desire to do PhD on a topic, because that is very dangerous. And that is the mind game that's definitely will be there. Also, limiting your sources. Now this is something that I realized after making a lot of mistakes. In my first 2 attempts, one of the big mistakes that I made was that I did not limit my sources, and instead of studying one source, or 2 3 sources, making my notes of it and practicing that, or revising that, I suffered from this fear of missing out syndrome, FOMO syndrome, right? Which I'm sure all of you here would have faced. uh, So and so I remember during my first attempt there was just 1.5 months left for the preparation for the prelims, and not even 1 month, 2 weeks were left for prelims, and I was here trying to study a new book, completely new book on a completely new topic, and try to see that what are the topics that I missed out. But that is counterproductive. There's this cliche saying that if you study one book 100 times, that's better than studying 100 books one time. That is in a way true. I mean, not one book you'll have to study, you have to study a lot of books, but try to limit the number of sources for any topic or for any subject. The I think this entire thing can be condensed in the essence of this can be condensed by saying that you work very very hard in the initial days to make the best possible notes. I mean, you do your research, you study from 3 4 sources, you do your research to see which are the sources you want to study, talk to people, talk to previous years toppers, talk to anyone, see videos of YouTube, get the strategy right, but work very very hard, leave no stone unturned in the initial few days, or let's say in how much ever days you have put for studying a topic, and try to get out of the studying new things wala cycle and get into the revision and practice cycle fast. Because one thing I can guarantee you, having failed in this exam 3 times, and once very miserably I have failed, I can guarantee you that it is revision and practice that will actually help you clear this exam. I can guarantee you this. I'll come to the questions. Someone is asking a question. I'll come to the questions towards the end. I will take your questions. Don't worry. But what I'm saying is revision and practice is what will help you clear this exam. So, if I'm asked what is the GS or the essay strategy, then for essay I would say practice, and for GS I would say revision and practice. Because essay, you study, GS thing, you have a material, you prepare. Excuse me. You prepare for this one. Philosophical essays based on the strategy that you take or whatever you're taught at your coaching institute. But the important thing is to go back home and practice. And for GS, important thing is to make your notes, or even if you're studying from some printed material, underline the important things, make side notes on the pages, but practice and revise that. Because the more number of times you revise, the more number of times it will stay in your mind. I know whatever I'm saying, you must have heard this a million times, but I did not do anything out of the ordinary. I can guarantee you there is nothing like supernatural or some magic thing that any topper does. I can say anyone who gets a good rank, it's just the same thing done in a more refined, determined, and different way that actually gets you the success that you want. So studying, limiting your sources, and revision and practice is what I would say. uh, the third question that I've been given is actually very interesting. How to stay motivated during ups and downs in the preparation. This is very interesting, and this makes a lot of sense to me because it took me 4 years to clear this exam. I think that in the first few attempts, at that time I felt that I was doing the right thing. But again, it was my arrogance and pride, I would say, and misunderstanding of what is required in this exam, which made me feel that I was doing the right things. Knowing what I know now, I can tell you that I was not doing whatever was required in for to clear this difficult exam of UPSC. Uh, so what kept me motivated? Because I failed in prelims first time, second time I almost cleared it. The third time I just cleared prelims, but then I got stuck in mains. And the fourth time apparently all the stages went well. Prelims, the cutoff was the lowest in a long, long time, 87, but I managed to get 118. And mains also went very well. Interview went excellent. So what has kept me motivated? It is the realization that I am yet not giving my 100%, and that the best of me is yet to come. And so it would be criminal of me, or it would be an insult to myself that I'm doing if I give up without giving my 100%. I think the source of my motivation I can summarize by what I just said. And also there is this yeah, like I was saying, right, there is this tendency to give up. I always try to understand that what has been my performance and what are the things that has stopped me from giving my 100%. If I can come out of an exam hall feeling that this is what I could have done and I have done, and I don't have any regrets, then I'm pretty sure that automatically we will not have any regrets. Uh, but it is very bad and it is an insult to yourself that you come out with any regret, or give up and have regret later, right? So that's very important. And there was another point that I'm unable to recall right now. uh, yeah, it is okay for you to make a mistake. That's human. But it is criminal and it is an insult to yourself to make the same mistake twice. I have made a lot of mistakes, but I have tried as much as possible to not make the same mistake twice. In all the four attempts, it has always been a story and journey of continuous improvement. Small things, I maybe my pace was slow, maybe there were other factors, but one thing that has always been the benchmark or the hallmark of my preparation is I have always tried to improve. And I am saying this with as much humility as possible, because I have made a lot of mistakes. There is no guarantee about, there is no like doubt about that, but I have tried not to make the same mistake twice. And I was very clear in my mind that I am not yet giving my 100%. So why will I give up? But that being said, it is easy for me right now to say all these things. I know how difficult it is for you to sit down as an aspirant when there is a million uncertainties in life: financial, parental, familial. Time is running out. People are saying, get married, get a job. These things are happen. These are harsh realities of life. You are staying at ORN and you are thinking that you are wasting money, whereas that those are just monthly costs that are adding up. So I know of many friends. That's why I'm saying these examples. So the thing that will keep you going at that time is the crystal clarity, first of all, that why you have wanted to give this exam, and secondly that you will not go down without a fight. And how like whether you are still giving your 100%. If you give your 100% and then come out and still not do it, then I'm pretty sure that you're not going to feel bad about it. But you know the other alternative, right, that you are not doing your best and still you are giving up, then you will have a regret later on. So come out of that. I'm stressing on this because that is something that is very, I was very clear in my mind that not giving my 100%, and so I will not give up. But like I was saying, it's very difficult to, as an aspirant, to understand, or I mean, it's easier for me on the other side of the table. And I'll give you a personal story as well, that in my third attempt, I had just changed from after my second attempt. So I'm an electrical engineer, right? So I had taken electrical engineering as my optional. So but someone had just asked that, how do you choose optional subject? So I'll just briefly tell you that electrical I had chosen earlier because I had this false arrogance that because I'm an engineer, electrical engineer, so it's my duty to take whatever I graduated on. It's my duty to clear this exam and nothing else. So sentiment again is not something that you should attach yourself to. Why I moved away from electrical, number one, the unavailability of test material, the unavailability of test series, study material unavailability, test series unavailability, or even if it was unavailable, even if it was available, the regularity of it was not as much as it was desired, because you need regularity, right? Because if you give a mock test and then after a month you call the guy up and say, sir आपने correct किया है कि नहीं, मुझे please भेज दीजिए जो भी correct किया है आपने, then that is counterproductive. You can't plan anything based on that. So that was very irritating. So I moved out of that. The third reason is, of course, interest, because eh, I mean, interest was there, but since I was studying non-technical things, then a lot of interest was coming in that side as well. So and my job was a firmware engineer, not completely core electrical. So again, I was out of touch with whatever was going on in the electrical engineering optional syllabus. But I think the most important thing, which I feel, and I have talked and I've developed this opinion and understanding based on talking to seniors as well, is that in technical subjects such as engineering, the evaluation is punitive. I'll explain that. And in humanities subject, I can speak for anthropology and sociology. The evaluation is additive. So what I mean by that is, let's say you have a 4-page 20 marker question, and you do, let's say, you do 3.5 pages, because in electrical or any technical subject, it's mostly numericals, right? So let's say you do 3.5 page of that solution correctly, completely flawless, and in the last half page you come and you make a mistake, and the final answer you get wrong. Out of 20 marks, you'll end up getting, if you're lucky, you'll get 3 or 4, or even, or probably 5, if you're very, very lucky, because it's a technical subject. You are expected to be technically correct in the entire process, not just in parts. But if this was the same question, same scenario in anthropology per se, for the 3.5 page of correct flawless answer, I will probably get 7, 8, or even 9 maybe. For the half page of wrong answer, maybe some marks I will not get, but there will be no marking that will be deducted. So it is punitive marking in technical optionals, is what I understood, and it is additive marking, which I just explained, in humanities or non-technical subjects. And that was a huge difference in marks, right? Because even 1 mark, as we know very well, can change your life. So I mean, once I understood this, I felt that I should not be taking a technical subject such as electrical engineering, and then I moved away from that, and I moved, and then the question came, how should I choose the optional? So I saw that the optional for anthropology, I had a good interest, because I had studied biology in my 9th and 10th. That was interesting. Also, I was reading at that time, just I mean, in this one, not very seriously, but in leisure time, the book Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. And for anyone who has read that book would know that it's a very interesting book, and it actually challenges you to think in ways that you never thought that you could think about humanity, about the world, about civilization. So that had some linkages with the evolution part in anthropology syllabus. So again, that was very, very attractive. And, and of course, I mentioned that availability of study material, test series, these are very well available for anthropology. And anthropology and sociology are two optionals where the ancestor advice, it's just a term that I use, of people who have cracked this, seniors advice, toppers advice, topper strategy, videos, everything is very easily available, and a lot of it is available. Lectures are available for on YouTube. So the ecosystem is very well built for such optionals. So I thought that it's a safe bet to take such an optional where the ecosystem will help me rather than restrict me to get good marks. So that was my approach. Why I chose this optional. I hope that makes the question that that person asked, as well as what I wanted to say. I hope it was clear. So yeah, we talked about how to stay motivated, the ups and downs. Basic thing is, be clear that you're not giving your 100%, and so you're not able to do well, and keep working to give your 100%. I think that would be the crux. The importance of limiting sources and the importance of revision and practice. Yes, I think this is probably the most important question, uh, whose answer I got in the 4 years of preparation. Like I said, a lot of mistakes, but it is revision and practice. Again, I'm telling you, that actually helps you crack this exam. Let's say in prelims mock test practice, what does it help you to do? It helps you, obviously, yeah, you are going to sit or try to sit in a 2-hour environment, I mean, exam environment, and give the exam. That's there. But it also helps you to find out your accuracy level. For example, in a standard full length, full syllabus UPSC style question paper mock test, what is your accuracy? My accuracy was such that if I attempted around 94 to 95 questions, then I would sort of end up getting 68, 69 questions correct, given a standard UPSC paper. So I knew that 140 plus, and then even if I get the 30 questions wrong, then uh, minus 20, so I'll clear this exam. So again, another thing here is that no sentiment should be attached. Even if, uh, look, nobody cares if you clear the cutoff by half a mark, or you clear the cutoff by 27 marks. I cleared the cutoff in my fourth attempt by 118 minus 87 would make it 31, uh, 31 marks. But then in my third attempt, I cleared the cutoff by 0.7 marks. So 37 versus, sorry, 31 versus 0.7, it's a heaven. Helen have a difference. So the thing is, nobody cares. Even if someone who cleared the cutoff by 70 marks in third attempt, he would also be sitting for mains in the same starting point as I would. So again, so no sentiment should be attached. So prelims mock test helps you to, I would say, fine tune the attitude that you need for this exam, how you should approach the questions, how you should uh, handle your mental stress uh, uh, while you encounter a difficult or unknown question. But not only that, it so giving the exam, I've heard many teachers also say this, that giving a mock test is one part. The bigger part, the bigger responsibility that you have is to go back later on and see why you made the mistakes that you made. Maybe it's an approach issue, maybe you are not studying from the right sources, maybe it's a question of revision and recapitulation and keeping in your mind, or the problems in these three that I mentioned, that is stopping you from getting the marks that you want. That self analysis is very important. And of course, if you see any nice question, then obviously you should note it down in your notes, so that it helps you or adds the value to your notes. But the point here I'm trying to make is, a wise student or a smart student will always know how to extract the best out of any test series. For mains, let's say, obviously the ability to write answers in quickly in 3 hours, that's always there. uh, uh, Someone just asked how to prepare standard notes for revision, and I can answer this while talking about this one only, the mains test series. So you have to see it from this perspective, that the notes that you make should not, I mean obviously they should help you when you are not in that stress situation, when you are 2 3 months before your exam, when you can sit in your AC room and revise for days on end. That is not the level of note that you should have. You should think of it from this perspective, that let's say 1 week before mains, your your stress level is at its highest, and then once main starts, it's not an enjoyable process, those 7 days or 10 days of mains. I can tell you from my own experience that the entire UPSC journey has been very beautiful, but if you want the most painful period, it's those 10 days, because it takes a physical hit on you, man. It takes a mental hit on you as well. You have paper one, then sorry, essay paper, then GS1, GS2, then next day GS3, GS4, 3 days continuous. By the time you come to GS4 paper, you are mentally drained out, and by the last 1 hour of GS4 paper, you just feel that let it finish now, because your hand is paining from 3 days of answer writing. Your mind cannot take it anymore, because you're going back home, sleeping 3 or 4 hours only every day, and revising, because these are very revise heavy topics. So you should, so when I'm talking about revising, your note should be such that you should be able to revise in 1 day or 1.5 days. That is the level of notes that you should bring it down to. And it won't happen in a day, and it won't happen without mock tests. So that is where I'm integrating this answer also, that with more and more mains mock tests, you're going to realize that what are the things that you are able to understand and keep in your mind and may not need revision for, and what are the things that you need revision for. So there'll be few things that you are unable to remember. For example, some statistics. So statistics को आप अलग से एक पेज में लिख लीजिए for theme wise, and then you try to revise and mug them up, and you keep revising, because these are numbers that which sometimes don't make sense. You just have to mug them and reproduce or use them wisely in your answers for value addition. So these elements of a good answer, or that is something that you can come out, and if you are smart enough in your mock tests, or to utilize the mock test. Okay, let me reframe. If you are smart enough to utilize the best out of your mock test, then these small things also you will know how to handle and how to integrate in your answers. I can tell you one interesting thing that I used to do that helped me a lot actually to write good answers, is that I used to download not any topper's answer copy, uh, just some random 50-page filled up answer copy of some random guy from the internet. Download, get it printed. ऐसे मैंने 2 3 किया था, एंथ्रो का भी किया था ऑप्शनल का. तो what I used to do is उसको print करके I tried to evaluate it by myself. I became the invigilator, I became the evaluator, the examiner for that answer copy. The purpose of that is that I felt that I should understand or pay attention to the feelings and emotions that I have at that moment. For example, if I see answer where I am asked something and then the guy is beating around the bush, not coming to point, then that makes me angry, that makes me irritated. And you cannot see it from the perspective of yourself. You have to see it from the perspective of a person who will be correcting 50 answer copies that day, 50 answer copies next day, and probably for a week. That is the amount of answer copies that he'll correct on average. That guy will be doing so much, and it is you who has to make it easier for him to give you marks. So how do you do that? By value additions, by doing good presentation, by bullet points, by underlining keywords, by, let's say, putting your subheadings in a box, and these things, that what gives you what, because with time you'll understand that if your answer is good enough or not. But these things won't happen every day, or won't happen on day one. You have to keep practicing, and once you come to a comfort sort of level, then you join a mock test, give the mock test, and fine tune your process. Focus on finishing the answers on time, 20 answers. One thing I can tell you is that you are expected, or it is more beneficial for you to write 20 average answers than write 15 excellent answers, 3 good answers, and 2 questions blank. On aggregate, you'll get less marks in the second scenario than if you write 20 average answers. And of course, in those 20 average answers, there'll be some questions for which you don't know anything. So there you have to write a general sort of an answer. Now that's another discussion. But the idea is that mock tests, the more you practice both for prelims and mains, the more exam worthy you become. Simple as that. But to extract the best, you need to keep your eyes and ears open. Okay. Next question. Importance of limiting sources and revise and practice. And yeah, so look, I can tell you that I had joined Vijeta IS mains mock tests in my 2021 attempt. Sorry, 2020 attempt. Because I found that their test series was pretty good. And I had seen their evaluated copies also. It's there on the internet. And the evaluation and the feedback that is given, that is very nice. In point-wise form, we are given that you improve these points this year, that. So that sort of helped me fine-tune my answers. And also some suggestions for value additions that I used to do. Also, one thing that I used to do is that after writing my answers, I used to attach 2 extra pages, and I used to ask questions that what are my thoughts, that should I focus on this part or that part, and then the invigilator was very gracious enough to like answer or write down that the answers of whatever things I was asking, like just 2-3 lines about the questions that I had. So that way it has been very useful. I joined the anthropology test series as well in my fourth in 2021 attempt also. So I think Vijay IS test series is a really good one. But the point is that for any test series that you join, you have to be good enough or attentive enough to extract the best out of it. I'm saying this again and again. People will join test series just for the sake of it. That is not the purpose. In my first 2 attempts for prelims, I had joined test series just to tick a box that, okay, I have joined test series. That's not the point. Even if you attempt the questions and even if you get tic-tac marks, your job is not done. Your job is to analyze why you could not attempt some questions that you could not attempt for prelims, let's say, and for mains, some questions where you knew a lot of things, but in exam situation, in the 3.5 minute per page wala speed and that rush situation, you are not able to write the most relevant things in that short time. Why? Because you have lack of practice. Even if you know stuff, you're not able to reproduce in your answer copy. So that's where test series, that's where practice comes into the picture. That's where revision comes into the picture. Because again, this is something that I had read. I'm pretty sure it's true because I also faced something similar, that if you study 100 topics, then on the exam day, you will remember 60 topics, and then you'll actually be able to use 30 topics out of those total 100 things that you studied. So and that 30, 50 and 100, that 30 and 50 out of 100, that number will increase the more number of revision cycles that you have. At least that's the way that it worked for me. The more number of revisions that I did, the more amount of things I was able to recall during writing answers. So yeah, that was sort of what I had in mind to talk to you about. Uh, I think with sir's permission, I think we can take a few questions, if that's all right, sir. You can ask questions. If anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. So Abhishek has asked how to cover GS mains paper wise course, and should we make notes, if and then how to make notes. This is a pretty general question for me to answer like this. I have a Telegram channel where I've shared all my sources and things, my notes as well. uh, General thing that I can say about notes is that obviously you will make your notes after doing your second or third cycle of studying a standard book, because if you do it for the first time, then your notes probably will be bigger than the book itself. So that's one thing. And the second thing is, as time progresses, as you keep revising your notes, you will come to a time where your notes will be less in number, or less voluminous in number. So that is also very important, that you keep condensing your notes. You keep making from notes to small notes to micro notes, because it is micro notes that will help you to revise very quickly. um, how to choose optional subject, I've already answered. How to prepare standard notes for revision, I think this also I have answered, that you need to uh, keep in mind that you will eventually need to reduce the volume of your notes. How to cover how to cover GS mains question wise, and how should we for vague and broad topics of main syllabus. How to make notes for vague and broad topics of main syllabus. You try to see the previous years, what questions have been asked on those topics. And again, even if it's a very broad topic, then try to limit it, seeing studying it from a holistic perspective, positive, negative, way forward, some introduction and some conclusion, some statistics, if any government body has done about it. You mix all of these up, come in the size of a 3-page answer, because that is the max that can be asked, and then you are done. I mean, move on to the next topic. um, Anthropology classes, I don't think I've taken any. I've taken a test series. Can anyone prepare it by self-study for 2023? 2023 attempt. This was 22 attempt. Yes, of course. But if you're doing it for the first time, then you need to spend some time to get the strategy right. Uh, Probably see how the people who have cracked it the first time have done it. I was not able to do it, so I may not be able to answer your question correctly here. How many hours is enough for UPSC? Yeah, whatever it takes, it doesn't matter. What is important is you study the topics correctly and you don't take any shortcuts in that process. I had no fixed hours. It was just that this is the topic that I need to do, and I'll do it, and I'll keep doing it till the time I'm convinced that I've understood it well and I have not taken any shortcut. I think that can be a guiding sort of a principle. Uh, I have answered that. Such topper notes useful for anthropology. Yes, I studied from toppers notes, like this one. This guy, what's his name? Varnit Negi's notes. That really helped me. So yeah, that can be a good guiding light. But then the main bulk of your preparation should be from like the effort complete should be bulkly from yours as well. It's just that these are supplementary things. How to keep sources limited? By doing your research about what sources that you would want to take. The initial research is very important, not jumping into preparation just like that. That is counterproductive. Just 1 second. Yeah. Uh, that is what mistake that I did early on. That I did not do the research correctly. So I think the initial research, initial asking people, seeing toppers' strategies, seeing what books are mostly the same. It's just that you should be aware that there is this FOMO syndrome and move away from it. Um, Can anyone prepare it by self-study? Yeah, that's done. What should be the how to proceed? What will the source and how we should be the strategy for anthropology? Again, that's a very broad question to answer here, my friend. I'm really sorry I won't be able to answer this right now because that will be an entire session in itself. Sir, my name is Jay Prakash, and my question is that how to solve these questions for which we will be unfamiliar in the exam in GS paper and optional too. Well, in optional, you will not be completely unfamiliar with things. They'll ask you the same thing from a difficult. Of course, there'll be few questions where you'll be unfamiliar. For example, the first question in 2020 anthropology paper one. Um, I forget the name of the civilization or Natufian culture. So none of us knew anything about it. But then later on, I learned that it's quite nicely mentioned in Ember and Ember. So broad reading maybe to at least write something. And for GS unfamiliar questions, the ability to write general answer without bluffing. Like you, if you don't know specifically what is asked, write generally about that topic. For example, if you are asked about some specific biotechnology initiative you may not know, then generally you write what are the benefits of biotechnology, because you don't know anything, right? So you just write what are the benefits of biotechnology and some points that you think would be common with these, with whatever is asked. You'll know the way, man. I mean, with enough mock tests, and that is again where mock test comes very important. That with mock test practice, you'll be able to uh, know how to tackle this better. It'll come with time. It's a problem that everyone faces. Everyone is scared of it, but that uncertainty in your mind you'll have to control. Okay, how to begin? How you began with essay? Like for the first time to approach essay writing, I took a pen and paper and I started writing to see where I stand. And to be very honest with you, I was not quite disappointed with my attempt because creative writing came naturally to me. Like I said, I was from ICSE background and I did a lot of creative writing in my school and college. But generally speaking, uh, it is important to come out of that fear. Again, very generally speaking, it is important to come out of that fear that if I write, I'll be writing a horrendous, poor essay. No, everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses. Essay may not be your strength. Creative writing may not be your strength, but it doesn't mean that you won't be able to score well. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard enough. And to give you a live example, but I have a friend, my batchmate Namrata Chaubey, ranked 73 this time. She comes from this one um, rural background in Jharkhand, and she has never studied in a English medium school, and she struggled a lot. This was her third attempt. She struggled a lot in essay paper also, but she got 141 in essay this time, 141 or 143, which is one of the highest in essay, even much more than me. I got 132 or 133. Uh, so if she can do it, then anyone can do it. uh, so and in her channel she is very nicely explained what has been a strategy, so I think you can refer to that. And she also mentioned, since you asked how to begin, that when your GS preparation is not complete and you don't have all the material, for example you're studying IR, you can write an essay on, or at least write a mini essay on India's foreign policy or something like that. Just give a start, eventually things will fall in place. How to prepare economics? Again, that's a difficult question to answer given that we don't have much time left. Uh, NCRTs, reading the NCRTs is important for economics. Uh, it is indispensable. And also, once you do that, then pick up any standard book, make your notes on it, and see some lectures that are available on the internet. But the thing is, if you are part of a coaching institute like Vijeta, yes, then I'm pretty sure whatever is taught in class will be of good standard, good quality. Why not have faith in whatever is anyways being given to you? You study that, see the standard UPSC questions if you're able to solve, then take your decision if you need to study anything else. But it is criminal that you spend so much money, time and effort to join a coaching and then not have faith in whatever is taught or the teachers who teach you. I have seen this happen everywhere, and this I can't make sense of it. You have faith in whatever is at home first, and then you move on to the next thing. Just 1 second, my battery is probably running a little low. uh, I have 12%. Fine. Okay. Can you suggest any standard books? Again, that's a very broad question. I have mentioned about it in my Telegram channel, so you can refer to that. What should be the level of mains preparation before starting prelims prep? This is before starting prelims prep. Prelims and mains prep should go on simultaneously, but I think in the last 2.5, 3 months before prelims, you should be completely in your prelims mode. So I'll reframe the question that how should be the preparation of mains while you enter the complete prelims wala mode. So I think your answer writing, look, the idea is that you should not be studying anything new or very, very, very less new things in the 3 months between prelims and mains. So let's just keep it at that and try to figure out whatever it takes for you to do that. Maybe have good amount of answer writing practice already done. ऐसे ठीक ठाक प्रैक्टिस आपने कर लिया है ताकि वहां पे जाके देखो यार 3 महीने जो है उसमें आपको 1000 चीजें करने होंगे. आपको बहुत रिवाइज करना पड़ेगा. 60-70% of your time will go in optional revision only if you are aiming for 300 plus, which you should be if you want a good rank. So there'll always be, there's anyways going to be a lot of work, so you have to this one uh, limit the amount of new things that you should study there, and that strategy, based on that, I think your preparation should be. Does the location of the institute matter in one's preparation? Well, this is again a subjective question. If someone is motivated by seeing others study, then definitely staying in a environment like Delhi helps. But for me, I did my preparation self at home only, so it was not necessary for me. How to avoid negative marks? Well, mock test will help you a lot to see why you are making the negative marks. Is it, like I was saying, is it revision issue, or knowledge issue, or stress issue, or simply carelessness issue? For it, sometimes we don't read the question properly, not correct is asked, and we mark correct one. So it's a lot of reasons. You have to do a good self analysis of the marks that you get, the performance you do in your mock test. So which optional is best for UPSC? Anything that gives you marks, anything that uh, you are interested in. Yes, I think I have my queries about Ember and Ember book. How important in this is this book? Which chapters we need to cover it? Okay, it's a important book actually, because I mean, if you read that book initially, then that will first of all give you a good base and good understanding, and instigate your interest, or let's say instigate is the wrong word, incite your interest, deepen your interest about anthropology. It's a very well written book in lucid, simple language. So I think you should read it, and questions are asked, like for example Natufian culture. um, विजेता आई एस एंथ्रोपोलॉजी जो टेस्ट सीरीज है उसमें सर ने बोला था कि एम्बर एंड एम्बर पढ़ने के लिए, तो मैंने पढ़ा था एंड इट केम इन वेरी हैंडी. सो yes, I think sir, anything else you want me to talk about?
No, sir.
So there is an echo in your voice.
No, sir. No, sir. Anything that more you want to add and students for this year, so you can add, sir. Other we can.
uh yeah, generally speaking, I think I want to say a few things, that this exam will take a toll on you. There is no hiding or running away from it. If you clear it, it will take a bigger toll on you. I think so. Then if okay, it will take, I mean, even if you clear this exam, it takes a toll on you. Because I'm interacting with many of my batchmates, and uh, people say that the struggles that they had, the change in personality that they have, in positive as well as negative ways, this exam is a very strange exam. So the idea is that don't take this exam so seriously. It's a part of life, but it definitely is not the heart of life. If you don't crack this exam, doesn't mean you're bad, because there are many people who have joined civil service and are not happy. Then there are many people who have not joined civil service and are extremely happy, who are doing extremely successful things. So one exam cannot define the worth of an individual, because I want to talk about these things, because these things we sort of tend to miss out in our day-to-day rat race that we have for UPSC. Try to surround yourself with positive people, uh, because I can guarantee you that you'll have more lows than highs. Your family, your close friends who will pull you up in times when you have the lows. These are the people that you should surround yourself with, and be choosy, be selective in choosing your friends at this time, by choosing your interactions at this time, because you have to restrict, you have to do rationing. But once you clear this exam, once you attain success, don't forget the people who have helped you rise, who have meant a lot to you when you were preparing. That's another thing. Remain humble always. I mean, even if you clear this exam, even if you don't clear this exam, even while preparation, I think I strongly believe this, that your training for a civil servant starts not from the day you like walk into Lavasana. It starts from the day when you start your preparation, because this exam is like that. A lot of the qualities that you would be needing in your uh, civil service career, they are taught, tested, and honed in this long UPSC preparation journey. So enjoy the process. The process is very important. The result is ठीक है, होता है. I can again also guarantee you that even if you don't clear this exam, and if you were a serious enough candidate, then the things that you would have learned, the improvements that you would have made in your life about you, in your own personality, any field that you go, you're going to do well, because this exam teaches you a lot of skills, both exam skills as well as life skills also. For example, the ability to work in a situation of scarcity, like someone was mentioning about answer writing, and if we are unfamiliar with questions, then how to write answer. Then that is basically a situation where you are working in an environment where there is scarcity of knowledge. So how do you work yourself around that? That is what UPSC teaches you, and that is necessary in real life also. As a civil servant, you'll always have less resources and a lot of work to do, less time and a lot of work, less doctors and a lot of patients, less hospital beds and a lot of diseased people. So you'll have to work around that, less finances and a lot of projects. So resource scarcity mein kaam karna is important, just as an example. So yeah, I mean, stay positive is very important. Do some yoga, do some light I mean recreation. You cannot study all the time, that's humanly impossible. No one has done it. Even if someone says that they are studying all the time 16, 17 hours, I'm pretty sure that they're not telling you the complete truth, because everyone at the end of the day is human. Someone who has got a rank of air 50 is also human. Everyone is human. They have their own human problems. uh, it's just that people have not given up, and people have persevered, um, and they have got the result. And there's a lot of luck also that is involved. So even you ask anyone who has got good rank in this exam just one day before the results, many of them would probably not be sure if their name will even come up in the list. So there is a lot of luck involved as well, no matter what anyone tells you. Huh, it is built on the like bedrock of your hard work, that is there. But then the element of luck is something that you cannot rule out, which, to realize this, is very important. To be at peace with if you're not able to do well in this exam, because that doesn't mean that you are a bad person, you are, there's something lacking in you. It's just that it somehow didn't work out. But for that, for you to have that peace, you need to be crystal clear that you have been working hard enough, you have been giving your 100%. Only then that element of regret doesn't come up later on. So that is very important. I mean, these things for you people as starters may not make much sense to you, but trust me, as you go on in this journey, then the non-tech, the non-educational areas of this preparation are also as much important as everything else. So I think I'll keep it at that. Some small questions.
Is the Zoom call ended? Hello?
No, just wait. Sir is connecting again.
Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm sorry I had suddenly it went off because light had gone in my home and the Wi-Fi went off as a result. So the inverter is back on. Um, yeah, I was just ending. I was just saying that at the end of the day, it is like you can uh, summarize it by saying that you should stay positive. That is the most important thing. Irrespective of the result, focus on the process and stay positive. I was just about to say that and end it. Uh, okay, anything else? All the best, everyone. I think that is something that I definitely should end with. That all the best, and I hope that all of you come out of this process with flying colors as a better human being, as a more humble, more balanced human being. I think that is the most important thing that I can wish for all of you. That you will be a better person than when you have started this preparation. So I'll keep it at that, and I'll pass over to Sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sir.
So we concluded here, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable words today, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir. Thank you. All the best, everyone. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Sir, I
Thank
think
you very
some
much, sir.
questions are there. If you have, can take 5 minutes to
Yeah,
answer.
I can answer. Questions are there. I should open the chat box and then.
Just 1 to 3 questions, sir. Just.
Yeah, can you tell me the questions, Sir? What questions are there? I'll
So
answer them.
one was that the importance of diagram in anthropology.
Yeah, diagrams are very important in anthropology because you see, this is an optional paper where you are expected to write answers like an expert rather than as a generalist. Sir would know very well that in my third attempt, I used to write answers like a generalist in optional, and that was the mistake that I used to do. And the test series really helped me to understand, but by the time I came to mains, it was a little late. I could not get very good marks. But in my fourth attempt, again, Vijeta mock test series, I really honed my answer writing skills from the test series. So, Sir knows this very well. Uh, yeah, diagrams are very, very important, especially the biological anthropology part and also the evolution part, where the technical diagrams are very important. For example, the skull and the backbone, the lumbar curve, and all these things. So it is very important. Yes, it's a very indispensable part of anthropology preparation. And wherever you should include diagrams. Sorry, any question? Any other question?
Sir, about books and all, any important books you want to suggest them, sir?
For anthropology, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So for anthropology, Ember and Ember is a good book to start with, to read, just to develop a general curiosity and also make notes out of it. My notes from Ember and Ember and all my notes for all subjects, including anthro, is there in my Telegram channel. You can have a look. And also any other standard book, Peanuts, we all study for the physical anthro. I think these are the two books that come to my mind. Yes, of course, yeah. There's Nadim Hasnain for Indian anthropology and tribal anthropology, but tribal anthropology, the excellent source is obviously the Virginia Sasa report on tribal problems. That's an excellent one. So yeah, these are the sources that come to my mind. Sir, any other question?
Sir, now we can conclude, sir.
Sure, sir.
Okay, so thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. All the very best.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.